do we know that God exists? Well, buckle your seatbelts, because I'm going to give you 5 quick arguments for the existence of God. Number 1 is the universe had a beginning. We know this now from science, we know this from philosophy, that the universe began to exist. It's not eternal. Therefore, there must be a cause outside of the universe that's personal and powerful and intelligent, spaceless and timeless. That sounds a lot like God. The beginning of the universe points towards a beginner. Second, what we call the fine-tuning of the universe. There are certain universal laws of physics and cosmology that exist on a razor's edge. And they all have one strange thing in common. If these laws of, say, like gravity were the slightest bit different, our universe could not exist. Yet they're all set right where they need to be to allow the existence and sustenance of complex life. The fine-tuning of the universe points towards a fine-tuner. Third, DNA. Do you know how much information is inside the DNA in your body? I saw one study that said the amount of information in one cell in your body is equivalent of about 500,000 movies. That's 500,000 movies. Can you imagine? Now the question is, where does that information come from? Can't be explained by evolution, can't be explained by chemicals or time. Whenever we see information, a sign that says stop, we say a person put it there. So just as the information in a book points towards an author, the information in DNA points towards a mind or an author of life. Fourth, the moral argument basically has 2 premises. Number 1, if there's objective moral values, God must exist. There are objective moral values, therefore God exists. Now, how can we say there's objective moral values? Well, number 1, it's kind of obvious. We all know that torturing an innocent child for fun is wrong. We all know that, it's obvious. Second, in The Abolition of Man, C.S. Lewis said across cultures universally, there's common principles that everybody knows and lives as if they're true. Principles of honesty, principles of courage, principles of caring for posterity. Now the practice varies, but the principles are universal. So if there is an objective moral standard, and it seems to point towards God, I mean, after all, this points to a standard outside of human beings, to a universal law that we're supposed to follow, there must be a God. So if there's a moral law, it points towards a moral law giver. And last, I think one reason to believe there's a God is because of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Jesus claimed to be God in human flesh. He died on the cross. The tomb is empty. We have radical accounts of Jesus appearing to people. And then our first witnesses who were willing to die for this conviction. So here it is. The beginning of the universe points towards a beginner. The fine-tuning of the universe is best explained by a fine-tuner. The DNA, the information, points towards an author of life. A moral law points towards a moral law giver. And the resurrection of Jesus Christ tells us that that God entered into human history. We have good reason to believe that God exists.